I'm very conflicted, and I do not think I'm the only one, because this whole debacle with the Children of Blood and Bone adaptation, it's really just thrown a curveball our way, and I feel like we need to talk about it. So, I actually had made a video about the adaptation coming out, and people's qualms with it and people's concerns about, the adaptation and the casting. That video, I'll post the link in the description. But before I get into the actual discussion this time around, for those of you who are unaware, let me just brief summary. Children of Blood and Bone is the first book in the Legend of Orisha series by Tomi Adeyemi, and it is massively popular. It came out ages ago, but it is massively popular, and it got announced that there would be a film adaptation, and then I think it was around last year, I think somewhere towards the end or maybe in summer, to be fair, the cast got released, and it was insane because huge names all around, like Damson Idris, I'm pretty sure Cynthia Erivo, I'm pretty sure Viola Davis is in there. Like, it was just big names, big names, big names. Now, while that's absolutely amazing, because obviously, a movie telling a story that should be so rich, and it's not the classic Hollywood story. This is a book that centers on Nigerian mythology, from my knowledge, specifically Yoruba mythology. So it's something that's like, well, that everyone was expecting to have, like the Black Panther kind of vibe, where everyone was so excited because, oh my goodness, our stories are getting told. I'm not Nigerian, I've told you guys this before, but it's kind of like, when one of us wins, we all win. You guys know the vibe. So yeah, that happened, and then the cast was released, but then, oh, people, the minute the cast was released, while it's awesome that there were big names in the cast, it sparked controversy immediately. There are some people, like, especially, like, there are a lot of Nigerians who spoke out about even the book itself. They took issues with the book, because they read the book and they're just like, in terms of cultural accuracy, they were just like, what the heck is this? Yes, it's good for entertainment and for people who don't know too much about Nigerian or Yoruba culture, but when they were just like, for us who know, like, accuracy wise, it's not the best, even though it's a good story. And so they're just like, that aside, we can enjoy the book, but a lot of them were just like, I couldn't enjoy the book because the minute I read this, I was just like, who wrote this? So that's a story for another day. But then beyond that, there was a specific character in the book. Now, it's been so long since I've read the book that even me, and since I made the video, that even me, I've now forgotten the character name or whatnot. But essentially, there's a character in the book who is described as being darker than her siblings, and she faces colorism for it. Now, like I said, it's been a while. That book came out ages ago. From what I remember, the way they described the character's skin tone, I think it was like, I don't know, olive or something like that. Oh no, not olive. They described her as copper, I believe. So kind of just like, I guess, but clearly brown. And then, yeah, so she faces colorism in the book, because she's darker than her brother and her mom and stuff like that. And that character is going to be played by, hold up, I always forget her name. I'm so sorry, babes. So yeah, the character who was meant to play her name is Amari. The character who was meant to play her is Amandla. Now, those of you who know Amandla knows that she's been caught in controversies around this topic before. She's been accused of taking roles that were probably meant for, darker skinned Black women. And so when this came about and then she was casted as Amari, it was just like, so you're doing it again. You're doing it again. And again, topic for another day. So, and there was the whole, like, I think this was more of a mini controversy. So when Tommy came out and saying, yeah, guys, you know, we're getting a movie and stuff like that. She announced open auditions. And so she's just like, yeah, you know, we're going to open it up to the people of the culture. We're going to go to Nige and we're going to get, you know, people who actually know the culture, da 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 da. And obviously the cast came out and it's these big names and they're just like, where was the open casting? Where was it? Okay, so that's basically a roundup of kind of like the Children of Blood and Bone, like initial saga and drama when it came to the movie. The recent drama is Tomi Adeyemi like publicly declaring that she is stepping aside, like she does not want to be associated with this movie anymore. She literally distanced herself. Let me see the article, the official article that I saw. Yeah, it was from The Guardian, and it was just like, quote, attack behind the scenes. Children of Blood and Bone author Tomi Adeyemi distances herself from film adaptation. And here I was just like, wait a minute. First and foremost, the whole attack behind the scenes. The minute we're hearing this, we're just like, oh, okay, wait, so it's not all gumdrops and rainbows. It's, you know, you guys aren't all getting along, and you specifically, you were getting attacked or something was going on behind the scenes, so much so that you have now decided that you don't want to be involved, that, you know what, keep me out of it. And that's insane because obviously, like, this is a movie based on her book, Her Baby, you know, the book that, like, put her out there for the world. So when we see something like this, obviously we're going to be like, something deep had to have happened. And one thing I saw was like she's been posting a lot, but she's basically been making like these cryptic posts, these cryptic messages in her posts. And so everyone was just like, okay, so something happened or something was happening, but you don't want to tell us. So like, what do you expect us to do here? The first one I saw was when she said, it was like in quotes. So she was kind of like, you know, oh, I've been getting access. Like, why don't you post about the adaptation of your first film adaptation anymore? And to be fair, I think because I haven't been really following up with a lot, especially like with regards to this movie, to be fair, I didn't actually notice that she wasn't posting. Sorry, guys. I didn't notice that she wasn't posting, but I'm sure, like, especially if this is one of your like favorite books and, you know, one of the movies that you're most looking forward to, I'm sure that some people are just like, wait a minute, we haven't heard from Tommy in a while, because she was so involved when the announcement was first made, when the casting announcement was first made. She was just like, guys, don't worry, I'm going to do right by us. I'm going to make sure that this movie represents the culture, represents us well. Like, she went hard, and of course she's gonna go hard. This is an adaptation of her book, of her series. Of course she's going to go hard. And then I saw this from the article. Replying to a fan in comments beneath her post, Adeyemi said, I do not mind anyone going to watch the film. I wrote this for us. I fought for us. I'm just laying down my sword and officially separating my name because I can't keep being hurt and attacked behind the scenes. And this is where we have a problem. At least this is where I personally, I'm just like, I think we have a problem. But there was another post that I'm just like, yeah, this is not good. She put on her story, and I'm going to have this all in the videos, obviously. I think this is in her like private group. You know how Instagram can have like communities. She said, there is a reason I will not post anything about the adaptation of my work. That's all. And then later, she said, from this point on, if you want to support me, you can purchase any edition of the trilogy at a local independent children's bookstore. And then she put in brackets, Books of Wonder, NYC. I don't live in America, so I'm guessing that's one of her like favorite ones. And then, I think this was a comment under one of her posts. Someone commented, so Cat Call 1990 commented, saying that you have not watched the movie and do not plan to is all that needs to be said. Unfortunately, very few of your fans know this, so they're going to go to support you. I'm sad for them / us. Then Tommy herself responded, I do not mind anyone going to watch the film. I wrote this for us. I fought for us. I'm just laying down my sword and officially separating my name because I can't keep being hurt and attacked behind the scenes. So this was the response that the article was referring to. Now, guys, I think this is the last screenshot that I have regarding this. But yeah. So Tommy says, I'm sorry, my love. I tried everything I could to make this work, and I do mean everything. So I'm guessing she was responding to people questioning, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's up? And then I can't really see the name of, but you guys will see on the screen. It says, I'm confused, Tommy. Didn't you co-write the script and produce it? And you were so excited and happy when you visited the set in Cape Town. And on Zetsu's podcast, you said it's great and we'll love it because we're all in there. So where is this coming from? And then Tommy responded, what I did was work for 14 years to make this a reality. All final decisions are the directors, and they always have been. If you were told they were mine, you were lied to on purpose. Yeah, she's distancing herself hard because with these comments, all I'm seeing is her saying, guys, oh, this movie about to be a mess. This movie about to be a mess. Now, I've commented on book to film adaptations before in terms of I've given specific commentary for certain shows, movies that have been adapted from books. I know one of the ones that I had so much to say was the Shadow and Bone adaptation because oh my goodness did they change quite a lot. And I love the entire series, the Grishaverse, Six of Crows being my favorite duology. And the funny thing is I think the Six of Crows parts that they adapted were the best parts of the entire show. That, please, I'm so sorry, the Shadow and Bone parts, they were shifting everything. They were just flipping things aside. Now, I think at this point in time with, fans of books, like readers, I said fans of books, like, Shelly, don't you guys have a title? Yeah. I think at this point in time, we've now come to the understanding or even to the acceptance probably that our books are never going to be adapted like perfectly, especially if they're fantasy books. Contemporary fiction books, romance novels, like those have a better chance of being adapted, and even then they be shifting things around. But when it comes to fantasy, when there are so many things to take into consideration in terms of like, okay, how are we actually going to bring the magic system to life? How are we going to bring this fantastical world to life? That we get. And obviously now with technology, I feel like a lot of the movies nowadays, because they have all these fun shiny new toys to play with in terms of CGI and all the other stuff, they're just I feel like a lot of movies that we're getting when it comes to fantasy and like just sci-fi, I feel like what we're getting is experimentation. I feel like now that they have their new toys, they're just like, oh yeah, this will work, and that's why we've been watching movies from franchises, or from directors, and and we're expecting something amazing because of your past work, and then we step into the cinema and we just look at you like, is this the same? Is this the same director that made this movie? But I think I think they're getting a better hand of their CGI, or, all of their excitement is finally, I guess, calming down because of all the comments that they've been getting at, oh, this is clearly CGI and this sucks. Because tell me why a movie series like Lord of the Rings was made decades ago and it looks better than it still looks better than half of the things that they made today. And I think that is because they focus on, when it comes to things like creatures, they now make it all with CGI, whereas back in the day those costume designers were put to work. Okay, they were out here sewing for their lives. Okay, and yes, sometimes you might see some weird movements, but you knew at least those creatures, everything was actually present on set, and they would just use the technology that they had at the time to do things like movement and like special effects, like any magic glitter and stuff like that. That was a tangent to what the point is. But yeah, the point is, I think readers, whenever we hear about an adaptation, especially when it has to do with sci-fi and fantasy, I feel like our expectations have now been, lowered to the point that we're like, it's so low that we cannot be disappointed anymore. funny enough, we still somehow end up being disappointed, and not because of the magical elements. It's because they now change the plot, they change the story, they take out characters, they put in characters, they shift the direction. Like, a lot of times you're like, what the heck? This is not the same. This is not the same book that I read. It's a whole new book. Now, I think because you have to change things when it comes to like the effects that you can do and what you can do with the access that you're given to certain places and whatnot, you do have to sometimes change scripts and la da 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 da. But sometimes you see scripts change to such an extent that there's no way that you can justify this. You had a vision essentially of, what you thought the book should have been, and you're now taking the opportunity, now that you have some power or control over the film, to now implement those changes that you thought would have made the book better. Keep in mind, this ain't your book, this ain't your story, okay? I feel like that's what happens a lot of times when you have a director who comes in and just has a vision. Like, I'm like, I feel like it should be a requirement that every director, read the book of the series or movie that they're going to make, because I'm like, stop playing in our faces. Stop playing in my face, because sometimes I feel like they don't read it. I'm sure they're like, oh yeah, I read it, and like I have the vision, because obviously how would they like actually direct and stuff like that with script writers and whatnot. But I'm like, I'm not sure you guys write it. I feel like you guys get told what happens step by step by step, and script writers write the script, and you guys are just like, I get the initial vibe, because it's to the point where I'm just like, with what you guys are presenting, I don't believe y'all no more. I don't believe that you guys have read it. I don't believe that you guys know anything that happens. And that being said, let me go back to the point that I was making, because I know that's quite a lot of tangents that I've made. I am so sorry. The point that I was making in terms of like me being concerned about her statements is, one, I think she's of two minds here with the things that she has said. But I think it's probably because she recognized what she said. Or sometimes she's kind of just like, you know what, let me just be honest, but actually. Now, she put in, she said like she's distancing herself, and then when someone responded, oh no, I feel bad because not everyone's gonna know that you've distanced yourself and they're still gonna see the movie, she responded to that commenter saying, no, people should go and see the movie. I've put my blood, sweat, and tears. I'm paraphrasing, she didn't say that, but you guys know what she meant. I put like so much effort into this. Like, I spent 14 years like building up to this point. La da 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 da. People should go into the movie and enjoy it because I did write it for us. But like, I'm getting attacked behind the scenes. And then in her private community, she posts, if you want to support me, go and buy the full set, like, in an independent bookstore. Shout out to the independent bookstores. I'm happy that she highlighted them. That's great. It's, I think what is, I guess, problematic or concerning about this, and I think this is even like maybe might have been her mindset when she even responded, oh, they should, people should go see the movie because I wrote it for us and stuff like that, is, on one hand, from what it sounds like she was railroaded on her own project, but obviously the book was auctioned out, and I don't know how like film rights work, but I'm sure it was auctioned out and then someone bought the film rights. And like she said in that comment, like, all final decisions on the director, she has no say in that. Yeah, I think it's very important to note how she made it clear that any final decisions, I did not have them. So I think but then she has said that she's not seen the full movie and she doesn't plan to see it. So I'm just like, from what they might have showed her, she don't like it. She does not like it. And I think she knows that we're not going to like it. So whatever direction they've taken, she knows it's going to like piss readers off. Now, again, the concern, I think, is the fact that, like I was saying earlier in this video, this is kind of like not the first of its kind, but it's one of those movies where it might set the standard in a sense. We've had like amazing Black movies with amazing Black actors from all over. And like I said, I think Black Panther was kind of like, oh, this was kind of one of the first movies in like big Hollywood where they were highlighting Africa and African nations, even if it was like a fictional African nation. Yeah, that it was kind of like amazing to, see like Hollywood highlighting that, that all the propaganda that we're always seeing about it being run down and, just derelict. This is not true. There's beauty, and there's so much variety when it comes to the tongues and the languages that they speak, and the culture and the traditions, the fashion. Like, Black Panther did that. Obviously that was like the first step, because again, Wakanda doesn't exist, unfortunately. But the funny thing is, Wakanda was, when they were making the film, they built it off of existing cultures, existing countries in Africa. It literally just like took inspiration from different cultures all over, which was beautiful to see. But now we have this where, oh my goodness, we have a book that was inspired by, a named people. So like, yes, obviously in the fantasy, things have changed because like now they're involving magic, but it takes that inspiration from actual lore in Yoruba mythology, and when it comes to like the languages in the book, Yoruba, to my knowledge, I'm not Nigerian, so if it was like other dialects, Igbo, Hausa, I'm not too sure. But from what I remember, I'm pretty sure it was Yoruba. But yeah, like actually taking from like, a named real culture in Nigeria and bringing it to life in the book and now on the books in the big screen. And what we've been seeing, especially recently when it comes to movies, is the conversation of now, guys, if you Black, you know the conversation, in the sense that, guys, we have to show up and show out. We have to come and support, so that Hollywood knows that these are the movies that we want, and so that they actually start backing more of these movies. Because let's be honest, this is just one movie. Yeah, people can say, oh, it's just one movie. If it tanks, oh, that's not going to affect it. Let's be honest, we all know that there is a bias, okay, against Black people and people of color. Let's not lie to ourselves here. When Sinners came out, Sinners broke records. Sinners broke records. And I was seeing articles saying, oh, the budget for, this is the revenue that Sinners made, not too good. And I'm just like, wait a minute, are you talking about the movie that broke records, that literally beat everything at the box office at the point in time, that outperformed most of like these big hits? That, like, is it the same movie that we're talking about? Let's not pretend as if there's like, guys, let's not lie. We have been blocked. There have been roadblocks against Black people and people of color in the media that they produce for ages. We're not going to pretend anymore, okay? We're not. Especially when you have media like this that highlights the power and the beauty in our cultures. We're not seeing so much. Like, they'll be quick to green light a movie about struggle and trauma, but when it comes to like power and just pride, like, we don't see too much of that. And I'm gonna be frank about it, because that's the fact. So with a lot of the movies that have been I think we've seen like a good amount in the last year. I remember I saw the same rhetoric amongst the community when You, Me, and Tuscany came out. Like, guys, go and support it. And, everyone said the same thing. It wasn't even just like, oh, I went just to support. People went and they're just like, guys, this was a cute as heck movie. This movie was so cute, so adorable. So it's not even like, oh, guys, go and support a movie that sucks. Go and support a movie that's good. But if you're not into movies, this is the time to get into it, type of thing. It's a good movie. And we want more people to support it, because it is helping Hollywood to see that you make it, we will watch it, we will pay for it. And this is not just in Hollywood, this is not just in the film industry, this is the same thing in publishing. You will have authors tell you that they didn't get picked up for their next book, even though they've written maybe like 4 books before, or like a store isn't stocking their book this time around. I actually saw a post by an author. I see a lot of posts, guys, so I don't ever remember the names. But she was just like, my book isn't being stocked by, I believe it was Barnes and Noble. And the reason that they cited was, the sales numbers from her last books. And so they're just like, based on the sale numbers from last time, the confidence in you isn't as strong, so we're not going to stock you this time around. And that's the issue that a lot of authors face, especially when they're new and they don't understand that, like, marketing makes or breaks, because your book can be amazing and then you get it stocked in the big stores, but then if no one knows about your book, chances are no one's looking for your book. And it's not like most times your book is going to be on like the highlighted table. Sometimes it's just like slipped in there, and so it might not do the numbers. And so next time when it's time to present something to the table, they're going to be like, well, you didn't have the sales, so we can't trust you. How would I have the sales when you guys didn't back me enough to market me? And this is not just to the bookstores, it's to their own marketing teams. Let's be honest. Marketing teams, especially when it comes to like the big five, they focus on like 5 books per year, and then the other books are out here fighting for their lives, which is why authors are now out here in the trenches of social media, just saying, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. But yeah, bring it back to the movie side. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Especially because, yes, Black Panther thrived. And it was like, honestly, guys, when Black Panther came out, it was like a revolution. You had people everywhere in the streets just going, Wakanda forever. R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. Honestly, such a loss. But I remember seeing a post one time that was just like, we've Wakanda'd him out, because he kind of just looked like, this again. But no, it was such a beautiful thing. You guys remember everyone coming out either in their full black wear, in their full like tribal wear, and the dashikis, in their full cultural gowns. It was such a beautiful thing to witness. So I was actually shocked that after Black Panther, that Hollywood didn't like double down on films that spoke about like black culture and African culture. I was so shocked. I'm just like, they just proved to you that not only is there a market, the market can surpass everything. Like, because this wasn't just, because it was a Marvel movie. I have friends who don't give 2 craps about Marvel, several of them actually, and they were in that cinema multiple times. Because I remember when that movie came out, I saw that movie with multiple groups of friends at different points in time, and some of them didn't give a damn, did not care about Marvel, had no idea, no knowledge of the history of the Marvel universe. They really didn't care. And even after Black Panther, they did not care afterwards. They're just like, I only came to see Black Panther. The rest of you, I don't care. They did not care. But they went to see that film, and with that turnout, and with the impact that it had on the culture and the world, I was so shocked that like Hollywood wasn't like doubling down and finding projects that even mimicked like what Black Panther gave us. But it just goes to show again, like, they're not trying to see all that when it comes to us. And I know some people are just like, oh no, Shelly, you're being negative, and you're going too into this. It's not that deep, or no, this is a conspiracy. Guys, it's not a conspiracy, it's research. It's been proven time and time again. We're not going to have this conversation. Like, we're not going to play ignorant. And if you are actually ignorant to, the workings of Hollywood and the movies that they platform, I'm so sorry. Go online and go read. This, especially considering this is a book channel and we're here for the reading. Go read. Go and do your research. Go read. We're not going to do this. Especially considering how many times I've spoken about like diverse literature. You really think it changes when the medium shifts? Oh yeah, diverse literature does not get its flowers, or it does not get platformed, and marginalized communities keep suffering. Oh, you think that that's just in literature, that it doesn't happen in in other forms of media? Miss me with it. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, I keep going on several tangents, and I'm so sorry, guys. Honestly, my mind is insane sometimes. It's just because there's a lot of thoughts in here. But yeah, so yeah, the concern for me is that she's telling people, I'm not supporting this, and people want to support their authors. If I hear that like an author has been abused or mistreated in a project, I don't want to be involved with that project. The heck, no. But then she responded to a comment saying, no, 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 no. They should go and see the movie. I wrote this for us. And like I said, I think this is when she realized, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. If this tanks, what does this mean? Because I don't put it past her to also take into consideration that this means more than just her movie. This will be one of the first of its kind, you know, a film in big Hollywood with these big stars that centers on Yoruba mythology, you know, Yoruba culture, Yoruba language, guys. I think, especially when she's like saying, I wrote this for us, you know that like it mattered to her that we were represented, and that she's like, she recognizes that this is something big and something good and beautiful for the community, for the wider community. That includes like obviously Nigerians, but also like the diaspora across the world. She recognizes that. And so I think she's like, on one hand, like, I don't want to be part of this because you guys, again, we don't actually know what happened behind the scenes, so everything is kind of like alleged and kind of just like unknown. But at the same time, she's just like, we need to keep supporting these movies, so go and see it. Go and see it, because I did still write it for us. So yeah, I'm conflicted. I'm very conflicted. Like, yeah, all of that to say I'm conflicted, because on one hand, I also did want to see the movie, because the minute that casting did happen, because like Daphne was darker than Amanda, and he's meant to be her brother, and like the colorism was an important, like a really important factor in the book. So I was actually really interested to see like how they were going to change the story to fit the actual cast that they gave us. I, I, and beyond that, I just want to see the story come to life, guys. Like it's a great fantasy book in terms of like, you know, fantasy elements and stuff like that, and actually like a good story. So I wanted to see it come to life, but now I'm conflicted, because I'm just like, at the same time, again, you want to support, and even she's telling us to go see the movie, and we know what this means for the community in terms of like movies to come in the future. But it's like, if like what like it's hard, because like you know, she told us we can go and see it, but it's like, oh, oh, oh. It also like kind of like it made me have like this conversation with myself. I'm always having like just like talks with myself. I was just like, I wonder, I like, was there a way for her to like keep, you know, I guess keep control, not in the way of like, oh, you know, like, you know, let her have a dictatorship, but like the writer of the book will all should I think they should have somewhat of a final say when it comes to adaptations, because there like, especially when you're writing, there are so many things that don't make it to the book, because for example, when you're writing your characters, you create character profiles for them. When you're creating countries and worlds, you create profiles, things that never make it into the book. For example, if it's not too much of a politically focused book, you won't read too much about, oh, how trade is done, its trading partners, and you know, it's like too much of its history. But from what I've learned in terms of like, from the author, from the writing perspective, it's good for you to know that, even if it's not included in the book, you should always know that, especially because like if another book comes along, or even you change something yourself in the book, then you have background to do that, so it's not, you're not just changing things willy-nilly. Same thing with the character profile. Things like, oh, what games did they like to play when they were growing up? What was their favorite toy when they were growing up? What's their favorite color? Oh, allergies. Like, all of these things might not factor into the plot. Some of them might, all of them might. But the thing is, chances are they're not all going to factor into the plot or the story of the character. But the author themselves know that about the character. And the thing is, we get obsessed, like as fans and readers, we get obsessed with the stories that we read, to the point that we're just like, we'll have arguments when we see something that's so out of character, because we're like, that don't make, we've been reading this character for like 300 pages, or maybe like if it's a series, like 2 books. They would never do this, something's amok, you know, like we definitely have those moments, because like we definitely bond with characters that we read. But I still like stand on, you know, the belief that no one will know a character better than the author. I know sometimes you'll see them in like panels and interviews and saying, and they'll be like, yeah, some of these fans know them better, like know about him or her like better than me. Like, I forgot about that, and that makes sense. Da 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 da. But at the root of it, I'm just like, especially, you know, Tommy speaks about, you know, how much time she's put into like that story. My belief is that like, no, like very few times will anyone know more about like a character than the author. I say very few times, no, just never. Like, that's your character. You created them. You know them inside and out. If you know, you did the work, and like, you know, you actually fully like develop this character, even if you didn't put it in the book. But this is how we end up seeing books with like underdeveloped characters. So sometimes I guess maybe the authors may not know them as well. But yeah, I think because of that, I was thinking to myself, I'm just like, oh, when it comes to like book to movie or book to TV adaptations, there needs to be like a better way to do it, so that the author has more say. Because it's very easy to say, oh, we're taking what they said into consideration. We've listened to them. We've listened to la da 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 da. It's very easy for you to say that, but then when the final decision is up to you and you alone, and so you can turn around and just say, I like what you said. It made complete sense, but I'm going to go in this direction instead. Then what was I here for as the author? What was I here for? You just so that you can say you heard my opinion out. That's literally it. But because, like I said, she's been fairly cryptic in terms of like speaking on what exactly went down. And you know what? Fair. You know, she got to maintain that professionalism. And also maybe she just has like a, you know, a contract where she can't really talk too much about what went down. So, you know, fair. Um, it could really just be like, it might not be the actual story, because, you know, in that response she said, I wrote this for us. So the movie and the story might actually be good, I guess. It might just be like how they treated her personally. You know, it could have been like a level of disrespect for her and her personhood. Like, we actually don't know, but I really do feel like it's I feel like it definitely has to do with the plot and the story. I'm so sorry. I feel like it might even be a combination of them like not respecting her, and them like also not respecting the story. But we actually don't know. That being said, I'm conflicted. I've said it so many times, but yeah, I'm conflicted. I do want to see it. And she said, you know, I made this for her, so I think I might see it. But at the same time, I think when the movie comes out, I'm the type that like last minute I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to see this. So I think I'm just going to have to wait and see how I feel about that. And obviously wait and see if Tomi has anything else to say, if she's going to, you know, make any more comments before the actual movie comes out. I hope she does. I hope she does. I would like more context, more information, more background, anything. If you can give us anything more, Tomi, I'm begging you, give it to us. Give it to us. Even if it's like a definitive, guys, go and see this movie, or guys, don't go and see this movie. Because the thing is, now that I think about it, there might even be a clause in like her contract that says you cannot tell people to not go and see this movie, or you cannot badmouth this movie. Like, I feel like, you know, yeah, contracts with movies would say that, you know, because what would it look like if someone part of the production is out here literally saying this is trash, don't go and see this, like. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts. Have you been keeping up with the whole Children of Blood and Bone, everything? And what do you think? And are you going to see the movie? Are you conflicted like me, or are you like a straight up no? Even if she said like, oh yeah, go and see it. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah, so let me know, and I will speak to you guys soon. Bye.